Yo, get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
Well, welcome in. It's Bears on Track show brought to you by the Chicago Sports Podcast. Thank you all so much for watching today, and we're excited to be here because here we are. We're in the beginning of April, and we are talking football. That's why I love the NFL so much, because it's all year round as we get ready here for the draft. We're talking about OTAs. We're talking about mini camps, and we got a heck of a crew with us today. First off, want to introduce to you our guest. We got Doug Plank with us. Doug, man, a former Chicago Bear legend. It's great to have you with us today, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I also believe for the first time, I was trying to think about this because Doug and Squeege, I think this is the first time for both of you guys that we've all done a show here together. So it's great to have you along with us today, Squeege.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. Great to see you, Doug Plank and Kris.
Thank you.
Bear down, all you guys out there.
Of course, I want to introduce to my good buddy that's with me here every week, my good buddy, Kris Brown. Kris, been a couple of weeks, man, but it's always good to see your smiling face again, man. Welcome back.
Yeah, man. You know, I love to get in here.
And we're talking about the Bears, guys, because on Monday is going to be the off-season workout program, starts the off-season workout program. And it's something interesting, and I'm glad we have you with us here today, Doug, because you could explain to us a little bit, because I think this is going to be such an interesting time as we go into this, as we go into the voluntary minicamp. Well, before everything straight here, this is how it breaks down. So the first day of the off-season workout program starts on Monday. Then the voluntary minicamp is April 21st through the 23rd. Rookie minicamp, May 2nd through the 5th, and then May 9th through the 12th. The OTA workouts, May 20th through the 22nd, 27th through the 30th, and then June 9th through the 11th. So as you can see, there's a lot coming up here. But I guess what I didn't realize, and maybe you could talk a little bit more about this, Doug, is a first-time head coach a couple of weeks before existing head coaches. So therefore, our off-season program starts on Monday. So how important is that when you have a coach coming in for the first time like Ben Johnson is for the Bears, and distinguishing a program, distinguishing a culture, distinguishing everything that he expects right off the bat as the players start coming in? This is all before the draft in just a couple of weeks.
I think it's very important, especially in the situation the Bears are in. There's people there that don't know each other, and it's more than just knowing somebody's name. You have to know their personality, what their effort is, what their schedules are, what their expectations are, especially in football. And let's face it, there's some good football coaches and there's some bad football coaches. And you just hope, because they all get dressed up and they all look the part. Oh my gosh, look at that guy, nice haircut, and he got a nice shave and he dresses nice. That doesn't mean anything. Some of the best coaches I had were the worst dressers. And especially back in the day when coaches could get more physical with players, some of the best coaches I had were very physical with the players. I'm not saying it turned into a fist fight, but almost. You had to stand there like a scarecrow and take it and say, yes, coach, hit me again. I deserve it. Hit me again. Hit me again. Those days have come and gone. And I don't think there was really any part for it, although some of the coaches I had like that were extremely popular and extremely successful. But I think the Bears have done their work. They went out and got a guy who I think is going to be very compatible with the Chicago Bears.
As we talk about starting off on Monday here, talk about some of you were just kind of talking about the dressing of the coaches and how they be a part of everybody else on the team. But do you have a story of when you were going in, whether it was the off-season program or the voluntary mini camp? Maybe it was a brand new coach, maybe it was an existing coach, and you saw him for the very first time, and you thought to yourself, like, all right, man, this guy, he's the real deal, or you thought at the back of your head, I still have some questions. Maybe this plays out through the season, but I think this is going to be something that we're going to have to build on.
Well, I'll tell you right now, when they made the transition from Neil Armstrong, there's different various points about what kind of a coach he was. He was a very friendly mailman sort of coach. Hi, everybody. Give me a hug every day. Here's your mail. You know what? Football players aren't like that. You have to bring them force and your personality into play. And I think the one memory I will always remember about a coach coming in first day is pretty much what you just described. They described a voluntary workout camp in the off season, but the coaching change had just been made. And guess who it was? Mike did. And you walked into that room. I'm telling you, he said, "Stand up, sit up." Right, just like an Army sergeant. That's who he reminded me of. And he just said he started off with, "Congratulations, I'm your new coach. I'm very excited about this." He said, "There's one thing I want to tell you right now. Half of you guys in this room won't be here by the time the season starts." He said, "And the other half of you," he said, we will eventually go to the Super Bowl. That's the goal of every team. And I want to congratulate you because you're going to be doing one hell of a job." Now, half that room was so silent. When he walked in, the old rules were talk all you want, be on your own phone. We had players at halftime during the game on their phones at their locker, hiding out, sticking their whole head in the locker. Yeah, honey, yeah. Okay, we're going to go out to some razzmatazz bar tonight. Okay, yeah. It's the halftime of the game. And the coach could see this. He could hear it. And yet it was allowed to go on. And what it did was it set a very poor precedent for the rest of the players on the team. They can see this. They know when players have made mistakes. Everybody watches those films together. Offense in one room, defense in the other. And when you do bad and you make a mistake and you stay on the ground, there is no crime in getting knocked on the ground. The crime is to stay on the ground. And when you see players run on the field, run off the field, they get knocked out, they jump up fast. I mean, it's like a jumping bean. You know what? And when you see them just be meandering around, it doesn't matter. It's not important. You got to make a change, and you got to make. And the Bears did it.
Mr. Plank, when it comes to just bringing up a new culture, they're not all rah-rah guys. Some are more schematic than anything. Right. So just based off of the personality of a head coach, how important is them being themselves? What role does that play in building a good culture in the locker room?
You know what? I think everybody's worried about feelings. I never heard the word feelings when I played in football. In college at Ohio State with Woody Hayes, he never asked us, how are you guys feeling? You come over here and give me a big hug. That was a nice catch. That was a nice tackle. No, it didn't happen. I mean, we were treated like men early in life. And the same thing is true, the coaches that I had. The Jack Pardees, when I first got beat, Cantor was a linebacker for the Redskins, Washington Redskins back in the day. And he came in like he was in Army. He was a sergeant. Same thing, Buddy Ryan was an Army sergeant, if I'm not mistaken. So when he came in, he didn't use any force at all. He didn't push you. He didn't slap you. He used his knowledge and this vocabulary. And he threw some things out of his mouth that just hit you in the head like this and knocked you out. I mean, it felt like an uppercut, what he said, because he just embarrassed you in front of the entire team. And nobody, I promise you, nobody ever wanted to be in that situation, be called out the next game, the next day, all watching film together, that you didn't do your part in terms of, precision and technique and effort and hustle. There's a tremendous quality about teams that they buy into the coaching system because they're hustling. They're running all over the place. They run to the huddle. They run out and get into position. They run off the field. When I watch that as a broadcaster and coach and as a player, I go, uh-oh, we're in trouble today, guys. This is not the same team we saw on film that has lost 5 in a row. No, these guys are ready. They're going to take us on today. And there are some teams that really don't even care about victory. They just care about beating the other team up. So you got to know when you play those guys, The score doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is that they have physically abused that. You've all seen the Chicago Bears play this last year. Do you think they're some championship team? To me, I'm sorry, I don't. I see people walking around, not giving the effort, not having the technique. And towards the end of the year, players were actually getting distracted talking to fans and other players while plays were going on for big yardage, big time yardage. If that would have happened with Buddy Ryan or Mike Ditka, you would have been on a plane home within a couple hours. And you probably would have had to pay your own way out there, get a taxi or something, or get on your own bus. But I think that fear is gone now. Everything is kumbaya. We're all in this together. Okay, let's all be friends. I'm sorry. Football is not let's be friends, with the other team. It doesn't happen.
Thanks for watching here, Chicago Sports Podcast. And we got Doug Plank on here and Squeege on here as well, Squeege. And Squeege, we're happy to welcome you in tonight as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I was wondering, Doug, what advantage do you think that we get from starting early? It's saying now that we're going to start like the 21st of April, I believe, is the first like OTAs that are
April 21st.
Right.
April. In 1 year in my 8-year career with the Chicago Bears, we had that happen only one time. And you know what? I really felt like we didn't get anybody hurt. I think that's the biggest thing. You don't want to get people hurt the first week of the season. I think play your starters very sparingly. You are out to try to find other talent out there. And this is a good opportunity. Even though maybe you don't have the entire playbook in yet, you're still going to see the heart of your players. You're going to see which ones can block, which ones can tackle, which ones can catch, which ones can run. Early in the game, and then I would go ahead and put all the other reserve players that were coming in as free agents or the players. Say, show me.
I was just wondering about that. I thought it might have just been that they got to look at the playbook longer than other teams or something. But how long do you think it'll take that new offensive line to gel? Is that going to be, are them guys in a position where they're it'll be something quick, like maybe a preseason game or something, or do you think
that isn't the Chicago Bears because this is a new lineup, new coaches, and I think they're out there to basically set the mindset that we are a good team, that we care about winning, and we're going to play offense and defense. Some of the teams, more senior teams in the league that have been around a long time, those guys will just be giving half effort basically through this preseason, because what do they have to prove to anybody? They've already shown that they can have success. Right. But younger teams that have not been successful, they're up against the wall. I mean, you're out there trying to win. To me, when I was on the Chicago Bears, we started with a 4-10 season. I promise you, whether it was preseason or during the season, we wanted to win the game, and we played accordingly. Walter Payton usually stayed in the game until like halfway through the fourth quarter. Our starting quarterback stayed in there. Our first team defense, in most of these preseason games, the starters should be not playing in the second half on most teams because they want to salvage them from an injury standpoint. Listen, there's always a crazy man out there like me that wants to run around like he's in the Super Bowl, the first game of the season. He's going to go run and tackle everybody and throw them to the ground. I mean, everybody has a switch, or no, some people don't have a switch. And that means you flip it on for unbelievable play, unbelievable effort. Off, you're playing to 50%. It's like dimming a light in your living room.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to ask you too is, I watched you for years. The personalities that we had, back in the 80s. What do you think about the way that Ben Johnson has built this coaching staff, and how would you compare those personalities to the way that it was back in the 80s?
I think that the players on this football team, you're kind of embarrassed when you don't have good seasons in the NFL, because players don't think you're that good, and so I remember one time the worst thing I ever had happen to me with the Chicago Bears on a 8 or 10 game losing streak. You know what? I couldn't sleep at night. I could have a hard time digesting. I mean, everything. You know why? 24 hours a day, I was thinking, we haven't won a game this year. We haven't won a game. And so that really stuck with me. And I think unless you have that kind of makeup in who you are as an athlete, that competitive spirit, the Michael Jordan of the world, I don't care if you're playing football, baseball, basketball, it doesn't matter. You got to take that kind of an attitude, encourage your teammates, don't make mistakes. Mistakes will kill you faster, and turnovers, that'll kill you faster than anything in football. So hold on to the ball, practice. Have your defensive players try to strip the ball every play in practice. Not hit them, not tackle them, just strip the ball, because that is the most important thing that's on that field. And when you just relinquish it and give it to the other team, if you end up in the turnover margin being a lot more, I'm telling you right now, you're going to lose. You're going to lose.
We're all fired up with Doug Plank tonight on the Chicago Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. You can share this video, share it to all of your Bears friends, and like and subscribe on our YouTube page as well. Doug, you brought up a couple of points here that I want to get your opinion about the voluntary minicamp, about the offseason program that starts on Monday, being a player and also being as a coach. So when you go in as a player, you kind of described on what it's like and what you're going through and about how you look at the coaches. But how about on the coaching side? How about when you're a coach and you look at the players and how you view everything? What goes through your mind, especially when you first started out?
It seemed like back in the 80s that not only did you have, the Ditka was always on everybody's behind, but then a lot of people were so afraid of him, but then McMahon had the guts to call his own plays in the huddle. Like he would blatantly do the opposite, And that's kind of what I was talking about is I think that I was just wondering if you thought that kind of chemistry is what's needed to make, a great team, or if it's like some teams have people that nobody else even wanted, but they all play as a team and still win. Like the old Raiders, Yes. And it had a lot to do more with personality and want than it did, schematics and all of the stuff that we talk about now,
Yeah. You know what? The Raiders were funny. Their right color was total black or black and gray or whatever. Yeah. They were from the dark side. It was almost like a movie. Star Wars. Those were the bad guys. They used to hit our punt returner receivers before the ball ever came. Now they only did it once. Looking up in the air like this, exposing everything in the front of his body for some wild, crazy Raider player coming down, getting ready to stick his helmet, who knows where. I know, because I saw that. I wasn't receiving the punt, but I saw the guy that did, and he ended up going to the hospital. And I mean, I don't want to say that was back in the day of, playing the way you want, like at the playground or on the street. But, and there has to be toughness too. Define toughness, controlled toughness. I believe the helmet is a weapon. I used it very well when I played. But there was nothing wrong with that. You were literally allowed to run full speed into somebody using your helmet. And I've got both of my helmets, one from Ohio State and one from the Chicago Bears that I kept. It was my last season, and one was my last game, and the other one wasn't. I cracked the helmet. Now you could go, how do you do that? How do you crack a helmet? You crack a helmet by looking at a guy 250 pounds plus that's running full speed at you, and you try to just neutralize him in a couple seconds and hit him straight on, like two poles together. And what does it show? It just shows toughness. And but that's all been litigated now, because of the emphasis on health and injuries and all those sort of things, and especially with key players. I don't see any of that going on right now. Just flagrant issues. I know the players are bigger, faster, stronger now, so it's fun to watch. I mean, Is it maybe less violent than it was before? A little bit, but there's still plenty of ways to get hurt out there.
Doug, as we get ready here, we're talking about the off-season program that starts on Monday. We're talking about the voluntary mini camp and then the rookie mini camp. And I'm kind of interested. I actually was thinking about this last year when the voluntary mini camps start. Is there something that goes to the back of the head of some players, because you've got the NFL draft coming up, which is just shortly after that? Are there players, because you hear the rumors out there of, and I know players, and there's players out there that see some of that stuff, but are there players in camp, in those camps, that are thinking that in the back of their head? Or are they thinking, all right, I got to get out there, I got to really show my best because I wanted to have another offensive lineman come because that's going to be my job?
You're absolutely right. When you see a player, a high draft choice, show up on your team on draft day, and they're playing exactly the same position, I would say in the top 5 rounds, they're playing your position. Look out. Bad things are probably around the corner. When the Bears drafted Dave Durson, a safety, who ended up passing away, unfortunately, at safety, when we first got introduced, I walked over to him and just congratulated him because he was going to be a high-round draft pick out of Notre Dame. And I shook his hand and I go, Dave, it's nice to have you here. He goes, well, thank you. It's great to be here, Doug, because they told me they drafted me to replace you. I went, okay. I said, let's do that. Let's try to see if you can do that in training camp. And, it's hard sometimes, too. You have to be very intelligent as a head coach because you have to try start your new players, or give them plenty of chances to play because you only have a small window to really make an evaluation, and you're not getting the best of the other teams either. You're getting their newly drafted players, free agents, all that sort of thing. So, it's almost like a birthday cake. You don't even know what it is or how it tastes until you bite it or cut it or whatever. It's pretty much the way with a lot of teams. And especially, here's my point. You need a coach that is also a motivator. If you have a coach that is very knowledgeable and he's a great coach at coaching technique and things, who is going to handle the motivation? Somebody has to. Somebody has to get in front of a team. I don't want to make this like television movies, like you see the coaches and the guys go breaking the door down to run on the field. But that is the kind of speech that you need, especially when you're going against your rivals. And the Packers, the Vikings, I mean, you got plenty of them around the league. And, but with that, you have to marry, being able to execute on a very high level, not on draw plays and sweeps like the Bears did when I was there. You've got to have an offense that will be in place, admiring Detroit's offense. And I truly believe the Bears are going to be getting pretty much that same offense, and there is no reason why they shouldn't be winning a lot more games this year.
When you look at the variety of play calling, it gets you excited to see that you got that offensive coordinator coming in here. It's like, that mad scientist of play designs and everything, man. Yeah, it gets you excited. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a kid that he's getting his favorite toy, but then he's going to open it up on Christmas morning. Like, it's that type of energy. So it's the start, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like the way that Ben Johnson works with the guy's strengths too.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about how he caters the playbook to specific talents. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing. Tom Landry had a propensity to do that. He was good at evaluating talent and using them in specific spots like that. So,
and I guess what I like to say too, your head coach doesn't have to be punching other players on the other team or anything like that. To be, hey, I'm a tough guy. I punch the ref. I punch the other players. Well, guess what? You're going to go in the locker room and get fined and probably, I don't know, get castigated for a couple weeks. So my point is, you have to be able to be smart enough to know and when and where to do the right things, and especially as far as your players were concerned. But when they look at you, they have to know, listen, You're not about giving in, having a whole bunch of excuses. You know, you're demanding, you're expecting excellence. And there's no reason why the Bears could not duplicate what the Lions have done the last few years.
And with that being said, Doug, we're talking to Doug Plank here on the Chicago Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for watching today. You can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm interested for Ben Johnson running his first offseason program, his first voluntary mini camp. I know he's going to be prepared. You could just tell this guy's going to be prepared. His coaching staff's going to be prepared. Yes. But what is something that he's going to be looking for the first time, or something that maybe you would be looking for the first time, and a first-time head coach doing this?
You know what?
Starting on Monday.
There's certain coaches that like other players over what maybe was happening last year. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I've been on teams where starters from the year before suddenly get put on the bench, and other guys maybe that were in a secondary position get put in the game. I know this because I was kind of like always the backup guy. I was always sitting on the bench, running down on kickoffs, not playing any defense. Nobody really knows. I don't even know. I didn't even start at Ohio State. I played in 5 games. I started 5 games in 3 years. You know what, though? Ohio State didn't realize, although we did good, when you're winning games, who wants to make a change? We went to 3 Rose Bowls in Ohio State. My point is, the coaches have to have the nerve and the courage to make a change. If they think a player can play better than a player that's already out there, despite the team doing well, you need to insert them. Maybe not a complete substitution, but chopping up his playing time. Maybe it's 25-75. Maybe it's 50-50. Whenever I get put in a position where I'm going out in the field for 50% of the time, and my competitor playing the same position, the other safety is going out, guess what? I am on fire for that 50% of that game. I run on the field. I run to the huddle. I run after every play. I try to be the leading tackler. I try to get all the interceptions. I try to abuse the other team by hitting them legally. And because I know when it's all said and done, they're going to match me against this other guy. And if I'm out here walking around like grandma, acting like I don't even care, there's no interest or whatever, I'm not going to get the job. And I potentially could be released. I came in going up against, I think it was a 7 or 8 year veteran with the Chicago Bears. I came out, the moment they put an equipment, the uniform on me, shoulder pads and pants, I started tackling people. It was, as soon as the drills were over, look out, man, here it comes. Drills and everything. I had to show them that I'm not just a kickoff. I'm a safety, that can play and tackle, and he can understand and read the offensive lineman. Are they leaning forward or are they leaning back? It's as simple as that. You can't cross the line of scrimmage as a lineman and have it be a pass play. Well, if they're all leaning back on their hands, with their hand barely touching the ground, they're not going to run the ball. Who's going to get on and block the linebacker? Not these guys, because they're all backing up. It's either going to be a draw or a pass. When they were leaning forward, I'm going, look out, man. They look like they're getting ready to run a 40. I would just, instead of being at 10 yards or 12 yards, I'm up there. I got to sneak up. I'll sneak up to 8 yards. And when you snap that ball, look out, man. I'm coming. I don't know who I'm going to hit. It might be a lineman, whatever, but I know it's going to be a running play or a sweep or something like that. And so players have to be able, if they're whatever their position is, a middle linebacker like Mike Singletary and myself, we always watch end zone film, because every game there's 2 photographers at a minimum at the game. One filming sideline, the other one filming end zone. And the end zone is how the players see a game. So before the ball was snapped, I could look at the guards and tackles and pretty much tell you exactly what was going to happen, where the play was going to go, left or right. Was it going to be a pass? Read the running back also. They're going to tell you whether it's a running play or a draw. If they're all sitting back like they're going to, they're faking like they're going to pass block somebody, no way. And the other thing is, everybody has tendencies. You go out and back in the games and the plays that were called during that time on the field, position, out, distance, and personnel, you already know what the play is going to be before it's snapped.
Well, Doug, we gotta we thank you for coming on here tonight, Chicago Sports Podcast. Kris and Squeege with us tonight too as well. We got a special treat for everybody as well because we have a highlight package, Doug, of some of your playing career that we want to show everyone. And you got us fired up, man. You're fired up. Squeegee's fired up. Kris is fired up, and so am I. And so
Good.
we're gonna show everybody, man, just what a hell of a player you were, man. What you played, man, and we're excited to watch.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Get you fired up. Would that bring back some memories for you, Doug, or what, man?
Yeah,
because
it
that
does.
was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? Every one of those, you have to motivate yourself. And did I talk to myself during the game? You bet I did. Come on, Doug. You got to crank it up, man. We got to go get these guys. I'm talking to myself. I talk to myself all the time. My wife's always going, "Who are you talking to?" I go, "Myself," because I want to get motivated, especially in the game. Nobody wants a quiet player walking around like, "Doug, what do you think about that?" "No, I got nothing to say." You got to have something to say about everybody. And you know what? If your teammate has done something good, man, go over and give him a big hug, a tackle, whatever. Man, emotion is so much a part of this game. I just love it. I love it.
We love the passion you do too, man. So Chicago Sports Podcast, Doug playing tonight. Final thoughts, Kris or Squeege, man, before we wrap things up.
Oh man, I appreciated watching that last minute, man. What's it like to get a woo hit like that, man? When like the whole crowd goes woo, like, I mean, God, I can't believe that a guy like your size and your looks and everything played like that, man. It's still dumb. You and Fensick were like,
Right.
I don't know how to explain it, man. It was just phenomenal when I was a kid, Yeah, you didn't really play the way that you look, I was impressed by that. Dynamite comes in small packages.
Yes, it does.
Oh, what I got from the film, it really just it just shows it's a representation of what you see what this game is supposed to be about. Just toughness, grit, and hey, when you gotta knock a dude's shoe off his foot, you're gonna do that. And like honestly, just that highlight reel. Oh my goodness, there was about 3 people I saw parallel to the floor before they even hit the ground, but that's how football is. It's just charged up. I'm sorry. If I was on the sideline just watching you hitting people like that, I'd probably lose my voice from just being excited all game long. Or if I just see a deep ball going across the middle, oh yeah. And Jeff Plank gonna knock his jaw loose. I'm gonna just wait. And that's how I would feel just watch it, just from that highlight alone. And the toughness, the courage, everything. Just you see it in the play. You see you throwing your body around, and I would say it's an honor to talk to you today, and just being around, just picking your brain and everything, because you that highlight just represented everything you said about the players, and even to some degree how hard the coaches should be on themselves and the players too.
Yep, no doubt.
And we appreciate your time tonight, Doug. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight on the Chicago Sports Podcast, man. We love it.
Thank you guys for having me on. My wife always says, "Doug, shut up, shut up, shut up." I don't know. I feel like I got so much to say to especially football players. I mean, obviously you got to get a degree in college, so you have to go to class. Everybody's heard that story. that when you get up to here, it surprised me because everybody wasn't trying to play as hard as they could. Well, these were guys' jobs. I mean, they got families. I mean, every time I stepped on the field, I go, oh my God, dear God, please let me, play another game other than this one next week, from injury or something, and you know what? I really do believe faith inside me, motivated me and just, you have to have your whole psyche together to be able to run into things. And because you know what, you may run into something and that might be your last run in, but I've never met a player that didn't know who I was after my career. So that is what big hits do for you. It gets your name out there. And I'm not saying it takes some courage, but I always loved the Chicago Bears and Pittsburgh Steelers, and I loved watching those guys, and I try to pretend I was one of them.
Doug, you're gonna love this, man. My girlfriend's from Pittsburgh, a diehard Steelers fan. We have Steelers season tickets here. I'm from Chicago. She's from Pittsburgh, man. So we have our house, dude, is a football house, man. Wow. And it's so. That's right. We're so happy to have you on tonight, man. We just love the freaking passion. You can feel it in all of us, man. We're all feeding off your passion tonight. So thank you for taking the time, Doug, on the Chicago Sports Podcast, man. And we wish you nothing but the best, man. Hope to get you back on here soon.
Thank you so much. Like I said, I'd love to have been part of the Bears, but you know what? Sometimes when you play for the team, it's hard to go back. So I don't know. Whatever. I still support every week.
And then Kris and Squeege, man, great to have you guys along as always too. Squeege, nice to meet you for the first time as well.
Hey,
man.
Thanks a lot for having me. Bear down, everybody. Man, thanks. This was a shock, total shock to me, man. It's all last minute, so I'm still like freaking jaw on the floor, man. Pinching myself.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor, and just to talk football with you and to learn what coaches and players are looking for when they go into OTAs, just the little things and how they play a big role and how they have to be there in the beginning to forge something in order to make a playoff run, just a playoff run. We're not even talking about Super Bowl yet. And it just shows how those little things matter. So I really appreciate just you taking your time out to just teach me those things, man. I enjoyed every second of it.
It's funny, when I was at Ohio State and we were in spring practice, kind of like the OTAs, we were in spring practice and I missed a double reverse. I thought double reverses were limited to like little peewee football, where the one guy runs to one side and then the other receiver, whatever, he comes the other way. So really, you didn't make a mistake. You jumped up where you should have been and just had to wait for the other guy to come around. Well, I got beat on that my first week at Ohio State. And you know what? Coaches have memories. And that play, I think, kept resonating in their minds. We can't trust this guy because he doesn't know how to tackle a double reverse. I promise, after I did the studying myself and I watched linemen and down and distance and receivers and splits, I knew where that ball was going and I wasn't going to make a mistake again.
It's an honor to have you on the Chicago Sports Podcast tonight. Thank you again, man. Guys. We'll talk to you soon. And for Kris and Squeege and everybody watching tonight, thank you guys so much for watching Bears on Track Chicago Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe on our YouTube channel here, and you can share this video with all of your Bear friends. So for Kris, Squeege, and Doug Plank, I'm Matt Cooper, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.